Good morning, art tours. And it is morning for me. If I look a little groggy, that's simply because I am. We're gonna spend a few minutes going over how to skillfully use pen for our media master project. Pen is often one of the favorite media of a lot of people in the end. Now, the first thing I'd like to point out is we do have a variety of pens. We have the 005, that would be our thinnest tip. We have 01, 02, 05. I think 08 is the thickest one we have. And the idea there is simply the finer the tip, the lighter the value you're going to be able to get when you're hatching, cross-hatching, or stippling. So if you're going to do your piece, I would grab a range of pens. You don't necessarily need to have every single one, but I would get one with a fine tip, one with a medium, and one with a thick tip at a minimum. And the goal is to create the same values that you see in your picture. You do that, one, by choosing pens that have a different thickness, so you can see some very fine lines in here used with a fine pen. In this area we have a darker value because of a much thicker pen. So that's one way to create these values. You can see where I'm doing the shadow in the cheek. I have a fine pen, and I'm just making straight lines. Our goal is not to make your drawing look exactly like the one in the picture. Right? This is a new medium. We want it to have the look of pen. Pen looks cool. So we're going to get different values, one from our choice of pen, and another way we're going to do that is by how closely we put our lines together. So you can see I've got different values with the same pen. Right under the nose is darker because I've put the lines much closer together. Out here I've separated them. So we can do hatching, right, repeating in the same direction, or we can do cross hatching, where we're going to repeat in different directions. So here I've grabbed a thicker pen to go to get this shadow right underneath. Don't. So when you're using pen, take your time. I like to have a piece of scrap paper nearby so I can kind of practice my marks on occasion. Know when to have a light hand if you want those finer lines, and know when to press a little harder. The harder you press, the slower you move your hand, the darker the lines are going to be. More ink will bleed onto the paper. Thinner, quicker lines, you're going to get less ink on the paper. So it's all about learning how to control the pen. So when you're doing this, just pay attention to what you're doing. And you'll notice in the lip too, you can also start off, like that top lip is very dark that I'm doing, but I'm starting off lighter. That way I can get the value darker in a very controlled way. So if you start off light, you always have some place to go. If you start off too dark, you're kind of in trouble if you decide you want to change that value. Now you can see in the lip area, right, there's a highlight in here. So we're going to get that highlight simply by leaving that area white. Right, this whole cheek area is going to be left white. Along the hood, that's definitely a little darker than the cheeks. So you're comparing values, and you're going to choose the appropriate lines, the appropriate pen thickness to replicate those values. once you get rolling, it's not that difficult. Personally, I really enjoy pens. I really enjoy mark making. In my sketchbook, I'll practice with different techniques, different lines, different angles. I think it's quite a bit of fun. Another technique we can use with pen is called stippling. So that's just using different dots to create the different values. It takes a little longer, but if you're patient, the results are really, really nice. So you can see in this video, the more dots you put, the darker our values get. This one's not me, obviously. I got a little lazy. One thing we want to do is be able to do with stippling is create a change in value. We want to go from light to dark. So we want to be able to slowly change our values. You can see right here there's a little bit of a line, and he's going to go back and try to add dots to smooth out that transition. The nice thing about stippling is you have a lot of control because the values change so slowly. So if you have the patience for this technique, you can do some pretty amazing work. So here's an example. Look at all the different values. Again, leaving the highlights in some areas. Stippling has a really nice look to it. So don't be afraid to give this a shot. I hope you enjoy working with pen. Decide on the technique that works best for you. You can use lines. I like the straight lines. You can also scribble. You can practice. You can try different things, or you can go with stippling. If you have any questions, feel free to stop by. I'm very happy to help you out, and good luck.